To make your dream come true. 850-775-4150.
There's nothing more satisfying than helping you find the perfect vehicle. And this month, find something you love at just 2.99% APR on our most popular models. Plus 90 days until you make your first payment. Like the 2024 Camry with stylish good looks and impressive performance. Or the 2024 Corolla, built for comfort and style with top-notch tech. Panama City Toyota. For over 30 years, where relationships are born.
Offer expires March 4th. For details, visit PanamaCityToyota.com.
At Target, our aisles tell stories of everyday Black joy. The same joy that can be found in our new Black History Month collection. Like feeling empowered with the teas and mugs from legendary Roots. Or seeing the beauty of Black culture through the art of Winnie Weston. Bring more Black joy to your day with an affordable collection that embraces it. Available now at Target.com/Black Beyond Measure.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX New Haven. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now we're taking...
With the first pick.
This is the last ball you got to bat. The Inside Drive. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Friday morning. The week is coming to an end. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Live and local on 104.3 in Panama City Beach, 101.9 in Port St. Joe, and along the Forgotten Coast. You can give us a call anytime during the show today, except between 12:20 and 12:40, as we'll have Aaron Bearden from Instant Replay Sports Cards on with us, as we do every Friday. But I don't know why I hadn't done this earlier, but just throwing a little Facebook post out there asking about some fun Friday topics. We got a plethora of things we can dive into, Jay, but I know you're going to give us some reports on the old NASCAR duels that went down last night. As you were supposed to. We talked about it yesterday. That was your homework. I mean, you can't just go to NASCAR.com and talk about all the results. Very true. But I did watch a little bit myself. I was watching the Devils King game, which is a pretty intense game. Devils ended up losing 2-1 on that one as a late power play goal by the Kings got the dub in that one. But Nico Dawes made a ridiculous save in the earlier in the third period just to keep them going, and it was actually that might have been in the second period, but reminded me of my idol growing up, and that was old Marty Brodeur. It just looked like something he would do, so it's kind of fun to see and all that good stuff. But make sure you share this, share our Facebook post, follow us on YouTube, go to X and retweet, repost, whatever it's called, and make sure you follow us, because the more people that follow us, it just makes it a lot more fun for us. So we appreciate all of our listeners out there. You can also download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. Just search 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. A couple local sports updates, and I very much appreciate David Hayes with the shout out yesterday after the soccer game between University Academy and Tyndall Middle School. But Ryan, she's sixth grade, made the soccer team. She hadn't played a whole lot of soccer growing up, but a little bit here and there. She ended up playing quite a bit in the game yesterday after they got up very quickly early in that game, and ended up scoring 2 goals.
That's awesome.
And I was kind of in the stands with a couple of the other parents, and I was like, I think Ryan and Lucy are both going to get one today. And then Ryan ended up getting one, and it was very exciting, and then ended up getting another one, and her and a couple of her friends on the team skipped all the way back to the bench, and that's true Ryan fashion, that is for sure. She was excited. So we went out to dinner last night and celebrated, and was able to hear David Hayes on the way there, and the afternoon underdogs. I even heard them talking about some goalies scoring goals, and I remember you talked about Marty Brodeur scoring a game-winning goal, and I knew it was against the Philadelphia Flyers, so I knew Caveman Rick was going to chime in that Ronnie Hextall was the first one to do it there, which was certainly pretty cool, but a lot of good stuff going on. But yes, shout out to my daughter Ryan, got her first 2 goals yesterday in soccer, so it's been cool. She played a little bit in volleyball, volleyball made some stuff happen. Basketball, she was able to play a good bit as well and ended up scoring a few baskets throughout the season, but really cool to see her score a couple soccer goals as well. But on the local sports side, Bozeman, I know, first ever district championship, had their regional semifinal game last night against Cottondale. I'm going to pull up exactly what the score is here, Jay Henley. I know they weren't successful in that victory, right?
No, they weren't, but I was going to give a shout-out to a good listener of ours, Travis Peterson. Today is his wedding anniversary.
Wedding anniversary.
So
real
shout out
close
to Travis.
It's amazing how many people got either engaged or got married around that Valentine's Day.
Love is in the air.
I guess that's kind of smart. You're kind of, don't have to worry about an extra one, right? Just you get Valentine's Day and anniversary right there in one foul swoop instead of having to spread more things out throughout the year.
This is very true.
Okay, yeah,
very smart.
Strategery, I guess, is what that could be. That's for sure. But yes, Bozeman went down yesterday to Cottondale 43-35, but doesn't take away from that amazing season that they had. First ever basketball district championship. Obviously, we know football went down there to the Final Four, so pretty cool. A lot of good stuff going on up there at Bozeman High School.
There is.
And, you think Bozeman and the success that they've been having in the recent years has to do with the fact that they are a K through 12 school, and you can kind of we talked about it with Chris Fall, and we've talked about it with Jonah Hammond over there in Arnold Boys Soccer and the Florida roots that he has, and you kind of can start working with the kids as they're younger and bring them up through the system. So do you think you're starting to see that come to fruition out there at Bozeman High?
I do, because look, I see it firsthand. So my son is in 7th grade. He's part of the Bozeman Middle School basketball team. However, in the subdivision, half of the kids live within a few houses from my son, and they're playing basketball every day. They're growing up. They're learning each other, ins and outs. And, when you live up towards Bozeman, you're kind of over in nowhere land, if you will, at this present time.
It's kind of its own area.
Yeah. So sure. I think that has a lot to do with it. Then the fact that you throw in the K through 12 and, absolutely. I think it has a lot to do with it, to be honest with you.
That's awesome. Hey, it works out good. And, it's like yesterday was just such a fun show talking with Chris Fall about all that middle school basketball. And, just came through some breaking news. Jimmy Garoppolo, not that he was going to be the starting quarterback for the Raiders, has been suspended 2 games for using a prescription medication without having a valid therapeutic use exemption.
Breaking news.
I don't know if anybody actually cares about that, but it just came across my phone, so I figured I'd read it off.
It doesn't say
the Raiders don't. And they're like, okay, well, we already suspended him 2 games by going with Aiden O'Connell last year.
He's not going to be the quarterback, and I think the Raiders are certainly looking to potentially draft a quarterback in the upcoming draft here in a few months. So, but
that's a slap on the wrist. I mean, at best, right?
But
well, what was the prescription though?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't dive into it, but without having a valid therapeutic use exemption. I really don't know what that means.
It's probably Advil, 500 milligrams.
There's too many milligrams?
Yep.
Nah, I can get behind that. That's for sure. You got your guitar in the car?
No, I don't. I know.
You got off the hook last Friday, but if you brought it this Friday, I wasn't going to let you off the hook. That's for sure. Jimmy, according to Adam Scheffler, Raiders QB Jimmy Garoppolo is being suspended 2 games for violating the NFL's performance-enhancing substances policy. League sources told ESPN the policy violation is related to him using a prescribed medication without having a valid therapeutic use exemption. Look, it's Jimmy G.
You're not a fan, are you?
You know what? I'm always a fan when they're on my team because I'm going to support them. But looking back, once Brock came in and I saw what efficiency and making good decisions look like Jimmy G was good enough, is what you could say. But he wasn't ever going to be that guy that brought us to us. And then when he and Trey Lance were on the sidelines and Brock got hurt last year in the NFC Championship, and you don't know if it's actually true or not. They were kind of like laughing and like they weren't really felt like they were part of the team. So ever since then, I kind of. But then the fact that he went to the Raiders was just hilarious. But he's only one of 3 current active quarterbacks in the NFL that have 2 Super Bowl rings or more. Which is wild because he was a backup.
Play for Tom Brady and that'll happen.
Yeah,
for you.
all you got to do is just go get with Captain Cool.
Yeah,
and he got a couple rings as a backup up there to Tom Brady. And one of those seasons, he did start those first 4 games and didn't do that bad.
I'm gonna be like Travis with the when he came at me with the with the Alabama stuff, Alabama quarterbacks. But it's like, what's the difference in Cap, Jimmy G, and Brock Purdy?
Yeah.
I mean, nothing. They've all lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. That's the hard stuff. To
what
swallow.
room do I got to be talking about that as a Titans fan, baby?
Yeah. Hey. It was when I was at the eye doctor earlier today. The doctor, Dr. Patel, she's from Chicago. She's a huge Chicago's Bears fan, and she's like, 1985. That was the last time anything really mattered. And I was like, yeah, I get that. So I was like, that brings me to the question: would you rather not get there or get there and lose? And I think everybody has the general consensus that it's get there and lose. Because you don't have an opportunity unless you're there. So if you don't get there, you don't even have the chance. So,
and the question is, how do you get there?
Yeah, by winning more games than the other teams. Typically. That's usually the winning formula.
No cap. My rabbit hole this morning, if you will, is...
I got a lot of them on my phone that we got plenty of time to dive into, but go for it.
I know you guys keep talking to me about being a special teams coordinator, and here's my special teams coordinator emphasis here.
Okay, I'm ready.
So NFL has gotten so unique in the way that all the stuff, everybody's built the same, right? Everybody does the same thing. Why not find a punter with a halfway decent punter with a great bullet arm, and when you get to 4th and 5, utilize that punter as a, I think that's how you win games. I mean, everybody can. Well, I'm not going to say everybody. A lot of people can punt a football 50 yards, and that's what they're doing. So I think what we'll continue to see as everybody becomes equal in this game, because a lot of it is equal, you've got to utilize that 4th and 5 with a punter that has a good arm.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my rabbit hole for today.
Yeah, there you go. So that was a very, very shallow rabbit hole.
Oh, well.
Because we didn't really dig any further into it.
Well, that's when you come in.
That's all right. Well, I mean, and a lot of the punters can throw the football, because you do see that fake. There's two versions of a fake punt. There's a fake punt where it gets snapped to somebody, one of the up guys that are, blocking, and then they take it off. But a lot of times you'll see him throw. And, Mitch Wisnowski, who's our punter for the Niners, he's a great punter. He had a big-time fake punt and got called back. And he wasn't even called fake punt. He took it upon himself that he saw what the punt block formation was doing, and he had a huge hole to run, and he took it. And fortunately, one of the gunners ended up blocking downfield, and it didn't even really matter. He kind of got tripped up and ended up blocking this guy, and it got called back. So we were kind of sad. But, special teams is, especially in college football, is you win or lose games in special teams, not only just with field goal kicking, but the possession game and how important these punters are. And, you're right. There's not a lot of, ton of them. But I guess, they're focusing on punting that's more often than not. But there you go. Punters.
But I think that's how you win, though.
Yeah, punters with an arm.
Cross-train, if you will.
There you go. A little cross-training action. Yes, somebody just sent me the Jimmy G post as well. I was like, yeah, we just talked about it, which was kind of interesting, that's for sure. All right, where do you want to go, Jay? You want to go Caitlin Clark? You want to go PGA? College baseball starts today. I got some other NFL fun facts, too, as well. But how about we'll start with this, right? We're 11-12. We've got about 8 minutes left in this segment. What did you think about Tiger and the old Shankopotamus yesterday?
Thanks to a good friend. I have not seen the shank yet, but he did. He was able to kind of talk to me about it. But he had a
downhill lie.
Yeah, it's a downhill lie.
Everything about the shot lends itself to be shankable.
Yeah.
Because the shanks happen because you deliver the hosel of the club into the impact area before that club gets squared up. And a lot of times you're not rotating. But so when you have a downhill lie, we don't have a lot of that around here with our golf courses just because we're so flat. But
number 12.
Yeah, number 12, you can certainly see that happening when you're stretching out. And that's why, when you get a lesson, and the course I worked at in South Carolina when I was still teaching before I stopped teaching when I came down here was extremely undulated. So it was almost 50% of my lessons were like, okay, how do I hit when the ball's above my feet and below my feet, and very drastically nonetheless.
Sure.
And when that ball's below your feet, it takes a lot of commitment. You really have to swing with the slope, and it's just very easy because you're stretching already, ball's below your feet, hosel can certainly happen.
You got to club up. So
yeah, you got to club up, and it's usually always going to go to the right.
Yeah.
So you want to, it's going to be, and if you swing with the slope, you just work the cut in there more naturally, and then vice versa. When the ball's above your feet, the club face is immediately pointing to the left, and you got to make sure you're aiming out there to the right, or just keeping your hands moving out straight and all that stuff.
He's human, I mean, obviously, but hey, look, here's the positive part of what happened yesterday: 5 birdies, 6 bogeys. He stayed away from the double bogeys. I mean, if Tiger's making 5 birdies in a round, watching this afternoon, he may be able to come with a 60-something this afternoon. We'll see.
Yeah, he's going to need to, because he's flirting with that cut line a little bit.
Yeah.
And again, we talked about it with Keith on Wednesday, but I think it's just good if he's involved in the tournament, especially through the weekend. I'm still surprised they did a cut with this event.
But what about the recovery he made on the third shot, where he had 2 trees in front of him? I think he had to cut it around a tree, hit it to about 17 feet, missed the par putt. But yeah, I mean, he recovered well, and I don't know what's your thoughts going into hopefully he makes it to moving day on Saturday, but what's your thoughts for him this afternoon?
That's a good question. Let me ask a follow-up question.
All right.
What did you think about why he said he shanked it? And talking about his back spasming for 3 or 4 holes.
I mean, he's used that excuse for quite some time. And I guess to give him a little bit of credit, like you said, it's a downhill lie. He's got to kind of his spine angle's got to stay the same, through it all. And so he probably did tweak his back a little bit, but he always goes back to that. And I just hope that if he does finish at 37-38 this afternoon and he makes a bogey on 10-11, I just hope he sticks through it and he doesn't use that back as an excuse to back out of the tournament. If he doesn't see him moving into the weekend, like, come on, Tiger.
Yeah, finish it up, play it.
I mean, it's just real talk.
Yeah. And I mean, and it does. If his back is spasming, yes, it makes it a lot harder to maintain the spine angles. And on shots like that, you have to use those core back muscles to make that happen. But, just go out there and say you shanked it. And, and it happens. And I'll get back. Because if injuries are still, and I get why he's playing once a month, because obviously he's still not in great physical shape as far as with his injuries and all that stuff. But, where I go to on this kind of stuff, if your back's spasming and it's going to affect your play, there's another person that's waiting to play that may actually need to play in these events for their career, for the money, all that stuff. So that's where I always was to draw the line with golfers withdrawing and knowing that they're hurt because there's a spot.
Yeah.
There's a spot there.
Oh, and he's got a new clothing line coming out. I mean, he's not done yet.
Originally when we talked about that early in the week, me and David were like, yeah, that logo's pretty cool. But the more time goes on and the more I see it in various places, it looks just like the Slazenger logo, which is incredible. Yeah, you got to look that up, David, because it almost is that. That meme that they put out there on social media with the Spider-Man guy where he's, has his glasses off and it looks like something. And then so they did that with the Slazenger one, which is pretty funny. I think I sent that in the group, didn't I? Yeah, okay. There's some other funny facts too. There's a good account called Golf Bald on Instagram that always has some funny stuff, and a couple of those. I feel like dads that shop at Kohl's are going to love the new Tiger brand Sunday Red. That's a good one.
Don't end up at the local Walmarts.
Yeah.
With the S plural, Walmarts.
Walmarts. Is that how you guys say? I'm going down to the Walmarts.
I've heard so many people say that.
In plural?
In plural.
Interesting.
I'm headed to the Walmarts.
You see it?
Oh, I mean, I see it, and Max had said this from the beginning. It's just like, to me, the face is like, I don't know. For me, like, the stripes are what kind of separates it. The lines. So I'm with you. It's a little bit lazy, but for me, it's
it's still Tiger.
Well,
still the stripes.
It's the number 15 with those stripes or whatever. So it's emblematic. He couldn't do anything with the TW logo because Nike owns that. Yeah. They could have done something a little bit more, but when you're, I don't know. I'm not the I'll just see how it goes.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not really too worried about. Look, the cheapest shirt's $115, so I'm not going to be buying any of this stuff for 3 to 4 to 30 years.
We're not the target market, that's for sure. That's for sure. But yeah, a couple other funny ones. The new Sunday red shoes will be worn by dads that like to tell people they are dangerous on the grill. I like that one, too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, are these going to overtake the New Balances and white Nikes?
I hope not. Because just the classic white New Balance with the white tube sock, khaki shorts, got your polo tucked in. I mean, that's the epitome of the dad action, that's for sure. I hadn't got there yet. Maybe one day.
So he's trying to hit this 40-50 market.
Maybe that's the whole strategy. I don't know. A little more disposable income, kind of good. And we talked about the flashiness of golf and all that stuff. And like David Hayes said on Monday, that Sunday red, the reason why it's Sunday red is because Sunday, one word with red, is trademarked by a guy named Ernest Harrison. So Tiger Woods could not use that particular, which is kind of funny. I would think I would offer that. Yeah, I mean, but where
did they probably come up with their?
It's from. There's no doubt it's from Tiger,
right?
And they probably were waiting for this moment, like maybe I can sell this trademark for $10 million and make a couple bucks. And if that's the case, that's pretty smart. Mm-hmm. It's like going and buying domain names out there when they expire and people don't realize it, and then you hold them hostage. And that happened to our original BayPointGolf.com.
That's right.
Yep, it didn't get renewed by the hotel one year, and not to throw the hotel under the bus, but they're the ones that were paying the domain, and they forgot to. And then somebody out in California bought the domain and then held it hostage from us, and we weren't willing to go with the negotiations that he wanted to, so we just then went with BayPointGolfClub.com, which is where you can go to check out all our stuff, book a tee time, see all of our membership information, local pass information, Bar 72 information, even got some tabs there for golfwithjay.com.
Yes, sir.
You got a lot of good stuff coming up. When we get back, we'll start diving into some of these fun Friday topics that everybody was throwing at us, because it is pitchers and catchers reported today.
Yesterday.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Yep. And college baseball gets kicked off today.
Yes.
Just when you think you're upset because NFL football comes to an end, they keep throwing more good stuff at. And the NASCAR duels happened last night as well. Talk a little bit about that. Maybe give you a chance to research who won.
Sure.
You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We will be right back.
Set your alarm clock to wake up with the Coach Hales Show on ESPN Northwest Florida. In-depth local and college sports from expert insiders and a dash of controversy.
Can be deadly.
Weekday mornings 7 to 9.
Nothing says good morning like a drunken human alarm clock.
You're live from the J. Michaels studio.
We all know he loves the Florida Gators, but that's okay.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
I can control the world.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Friday's weather. This afternoon and evening there will be a light breeze out of the south, light sprinkles and clouds, and 63. Very light rain tonight, about the same at 59. Tomorrow, raining moderately and a gentle breeze right around 11 miles per hour with a high of 63. A bit colder at 57 Sunday, and we'll have some clouds. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumberyard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been your portable building specialist since 1989. Before you invest your hard-earned money someplace else, owner Jason Mulder invites you to stop by Bestway and get a quote on just about any size building. And whether you buy with Bestway or not, it's worth the trip just to meet Bestway Buddy. Say hello, buddy. Good boy. Bestway Portable Buildings, just north of Hartz Marine on 231, and online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. The best in portable, period. Tell them Buddy sent ya.
Hey folks, Chris Kramer with Bill Kramer GM. And the best place to listen to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is inside a brand new vehicle from Bill Kramer GM. And I want you to know we've got 10 times the amount of inventory on the ground as we did this time last year, and darn near all of them are discounted. So shop us online at BillKramerGM.com or visit us the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd. We'll make it easy and take great care of you.
Do you suffer from political talk radio fatigue?
We know that under the 49% rate, the U.S. economy is
Tune into the most fun and exciting new radio show on the Gulf Coast. It's The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Appreciate everybody jumping in and giving us some fun topics to talk about today. Do want to talk about real quick, the start of college baseball season is upon us. I know softball get kicked off last Friday. Baseball gets kicked off this Friday. And just going over real quick, some of the opening series for the top 25 teams really gets kicked off. It's already underway as Duke has been taking on Indiana over there at the home of the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. And that's in Conway, South Carolina at Springbrook Stadium. And it is 0-0 in the top of the fifth. The next game coming up is number 7, Oregon State, going against New Mexico. That's at 2 p.m. 3 p.m., you got Hofstra taking on number 14, Virginia. NC State, who's number 13 in the country, taking on VCU. Jay, what does VCU stand for?
VCU. I don't know.
Virginia Commonwealth University.
I would not guess that one.
Well, it kind of goes with the UFO, right?
Yeah, right. Universal Flying Object.
Well, it may be that comes soon once we identify all of them, because
the drone could be a UFO.
Yeah, it could.
I mean, Universal.
And speaking of drone, I did watch a little bit of that NASCAR duels when the Devils game was in intermission, and when they were in a caution, or they're getting started to run they weren't in a caution, they were getting started to run the second duel race.
Yeah.
And they had a drone out there like flying next to, and then I thought that was just a really cool angle to see that. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. Number 4, LSU, or did I say Arkansas yet? I don't think I did. Anyway, Adam Mullinex and a lot of other big Arkansas Woo Pig fans here in the Panama City Beach area. They take on James Madison University at 3 p.m. to get that 3-game series kicked off this afternoon. They're number 3 in the country. Number 4 in the country, also from the SEC, is LSU. They get kicked off with their season this year against VMI. Do you know what VMI stands for?
Some military institution.
You got it.
Virginia?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because is there another state that begins with V?
Vermont.
Well, there you go. It's definitely not the Vermont Military Institute. It'd be a little chillier up there. So they're at down there in Baton Rouge, getting both of their seasons kicked off. Number 15, North Carolina, taking on Wagner at 4 p.m. Number 10, Clemson, taking on Xavier at 4 p.m. as well. And then you got East Carolina taking on Rider. If you like to bet college baseball, and Rider University is from New Jersey, and I had a lot of friends that went there growing up. They got a pretty decent baseball team, so it's kind of like college basketball a little bit. These baseball games, you can see a lot of upsets, and I'm assuming you can bet on college baseball through the Hard Rock app. Haven't really
asked the Alabama coach.
Yeah. Nice. No, it's not too soon. No. It's been long enough now, that's for sure. But yeah, so they're taking on Rider. That's East Carolina, and then my Coastal Carolina Chanticleer is taking on George Mason University, which George Mason is located in which state, Jay?
George Mason?
George Mason. It has something to do with one of the ones we just talked about.
Virginia.
There you go. I visited a friend one time there at George Mason University, and that was about that time they were having some deep runs in the NCAA tournament on the basketball side. So George Mason heading down to take on Coastal Carolina at 4 p.m. at Springbrook Stadium. Number 25, South Carolina, taking on Miami of Ohio. South Carolina, Ray Tanner, athletic director over there, they got a great baseball program as well, and cool stadium, which it's just kind of down the hill there in Columbia, down in the valley, a little bit down the road from Williams-Brice Stadium. A cool ballpark, that's for sure. And then David Hayes' Alabama Crimson Tide taking on Manhattan to get their season started up there in Tuscaloosa, starting at 5 p.m. You can tune into that one as well. Number 20, Iowa, taking on Seton Hall. What state's Seton Hall from?
Seton Hall. It sounds northeastern.
It is.
New York.
No. Close. Very, very close.
Oh, what's Pennsylvania?
No.
Vermont.
They touch. New York and this state touch.
Oh, man.
That limits it. And it's not Pennsylvania. And it's not Delaware. So you got
Maine?
No, Maine. Jesus.
There's a lot of land between New York and Maine.
There's a lot of states between New York and Maine.
Yikes.
Connecticut, Rhode Island, Vermont, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
No.
Tell me.
New Jersey. The Seton Hall Pirates are from New Jersey as well. They're taking on number 20, Iowa. And then my dad's alma mater, they're taking on the Campbell Camels, and that is UC Santa Barbara. That's at 5 p.m. out there at Bowie's Creek, which is, they must be playing at Campbell, which is interesting in that one. And then number 1 in the nation preseason, Wake Forest. They're taking on Fordham University. Vanderbilt, number 6, taking on Florida Atlantic. Travis is number 2 ranked Florida Gators, taking on St. John's University. Texas A&M coming in at number 8, taking on McNeese State. And then you got TCU taking on, or just down the, not really down the road, it's down there in the Tampa area, and that's Florida Gulf Coast University, taking on number 5, TCU. Northeastern ranked number 23rd. They're up there in Boston, but they are playing in Tucson, Arizona against Arizona. And then you do have one top 25 matchup to kick off the opening series of the college baseball season, and that is Tennessee at number 9 taking on number 21 Texas Tech out there in Arlington, Texas at Global Life Field. California taking on number 24 Kansas State. UCLA is number 22 in the country taking on Gonzaga. And then last but not least, rounding out the top 25 opening series, you've got number 16 Texas taking on San Diego. College baseball is exciting. I can't wait for it to get going. And what's so fun in this day and age is how easy it is to watch these games. And, you know, because ESPN Plus pretty much carries all these games on baseball as long as they produce them, and which is fun because it gives you an opportunity to watch your alma mater or just teams you may like. So, but
the ping of the bat versus a wooden bat, just so different.
Completely different. That's for sure. Yeah. That's for sure. The baseball division Liam's playing in now, they got to switch from USA bats to USSSA bats, which supposedly, I don't know a ton about it, but are supposedly a lot hotter. So be interesting to see if that has any kind of impact there. But that's your opening weekend there in Division I college baseball. Jay, what went down at the NASCAR duels last night?
A lot. I think what we figured out is that Ford is good one-on-one, you know, like not in the draft. Obviously, Joey Logano's got row 1, inside row 1, Michael McDowell outside row 1 for the Daytona 500. Those are both Ford manufactured cars. However, last night, Tyler Reddick won duel number 1. Christopher Bell ran a good race in duel number 2.
Those are both Toyotas, right?
Those are both Toyotas. One of Christopher Bell runs
Look
for
at me like
Joe
I know
Gibbs.
what I'm talking about.
I know, right? No kidding, that's good.
Let's imagine what you do and you read a few things here and there.
Right. Yeah, I don't like to do that, but
it's hard.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Focus.
But focus. But no, Ryan Blaney, man, last night that was a massive hit that he got in the right quarter panel. I want to say Byron got into the back of him, and then he ended up hitting the wall at 190 miles an hour. Whew. It was, man, some of these in-car cameras right now are insane. You could see his body actually move so much forward after that impact, and they did it in slow motion last night. It was chill. It was bone chilling.
I wonder if like the new Apple glasses thing or whatever, like you can put that on and be inside the car while they're riding around live in the race.
Oh yeah, man,
that'd be pretty intense. I might be able to do that with like the MetaQuest 2 and stuff like that. I got to look into that because that would be that'd be pretty nifty.
It is.
That would be pretty nifty.
But, yeah, man, truck race tonight, Xfinity race Saturday, and then Daytona 500, 2:30 Eastern on Sunday.
So were the duels, like, qualifying for the 500 as well? Yeah. Okay.
So Wednesday night, you did a whole slew of qualifying, and that was just for the first 2 positions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then what they did, if I'm not mistaken here, is basically duel number 1 was like the inside row for the Daytona 500. Duel number 2 was the outside row. Yeah, there's so much that changes, kind of like in football, right? There's something to change every week, it seems like, but I want to say that's about right. But
absolutely, yeah,
it'll be fun.
Getting us kicked off here, and what time is that? Does the main Daytona 500 get kicked off on Sunday?
2:30 Eastern.
2:30 Eastern, so 1:30 Eastern time. So we just dropped the NFL and we've just switched it to NASCAR.
There you go.
Right. There you go.
Yeah, a lot of hard impact. You know, I mean, you can compare NFL and NASCAR. Pretty good.
Daytona 500 is not a restrictor plate race, right?
It is a restrictor plate.
It is. Yep. So the big races are the restrictor plate races.
Yep.
And is that just to kind of level the playing field a little bit?
It is.
When did they start really doing that?
It's been like that for quite some time.
Okay.
I mean, you know, there's an air intake that happens where, you know, I don't know what the intake manifold basically, and then it just restricts the air. So instead, I mean, these things can go. I mean, they have 800 horsepower. These things could go 220 miles an hour if they wanted to, but it restricts the air intake, and they're basically going about 185. They may be reaching 190, 195 with the draft, but yeah, you'll notice the Ford's just different. The Ford Mustang to me is a little bit boxier up front, so they're not drafting as well as the Toyota. You know, if you look at the front end of a Toyota Camry, it's a little bit slicker, and you know, it just seems to resist. You know, wind resistance, the big key with all this. But,
absolutely. I remember playing NASCAR on Sega Genesis back in the day. One of my friends had a Sega, and that's when they you would see the draft and all that stuff, and really get going in that and all that good stuff. But it's exciting racing season is getting underway, and I think it was Mark Douglas who had mentioned on that post I made on Facebook.
F1.
Yeah, let me pull that up one more time.
And that's one thing I haven't quite got into F1. I want to try to, you know, get into that a little bit more, but that's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big thing.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, if you watched the Talladega Nights and, you know, Jean Girard came over from Formula and, but yeah, I mean, you're seeing it in Vegas and Miami. You're just seeing it a lot more in the States because it's historically been more of an international circuit, right? Pretty fair to say.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you're seeing a lot more here in the state. That'd be fun to go to one of those, that's for sure.
What was his sponsor, though, in Talladega? Was it Pierre Sparkling Water?
Yeah, it was the French water. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes, yes. Never listened to Jazz. He put the Jazz on in the bar, and then he ended up breaking Ricky Bobby's arm.
Yeah.
Bummer.
I'm telling you.
It's a good one.
That is a good one. It's time for another one. I mean,
it's gotta you think they'll do another one?
I hope so. I mean...
And then just be focused on Cal Naughton?
Yes. Yeah.
There you go.
They got to get one more in.
They got to. It was too good for it not to be. That is for sure. That is for sure.
Make it Daytona Days or something like that. I don't know.
Aaron Rich just sent me a text that said someone said Brandon Ayuk looks just like Mike Tomlin with dreads, and I'll never be able to see him the same. He looks exactly like Mike Tomlin.
He does.
That's wild. That's some wild stuff. And you always say Bill, our assistant golf pro out there at Bay Point Golf Co. Who do you say he looks
Johnson
like?
Wagner with the Golf Channel.
He looks
my gosh.
just like him. Especially when he just has the stash.
Yes.
It's like a spitting image, that's for sure.
Oh, and my new one now is Matthew Pavon, the Frenchman that's on the PGA Tour. Him and Sergio got it going on.
They do.
Man.
They do look very similar. You put that out there. That is for sure. But, some of the Facebook comments we already talked about the Tiger Shank, but Alan Watson over there from Golf Plus, good friend and one of the sponsors of the Afternoon Underdog, said, if Arnold and Jack and Tom had today's equipment and the golf ball, would they have been even better players, won more tournaments, been able to beat today's players on tour? What do you think?
I don't have enough information to really give. I mean, I've watched Jack and I've watched Arnold in some of these Shell Wonderful World of Golf events that Golf Channel does, but good question. I mean, I don't even know how you could go down that. What are some things back in the day that Jack and Arnie, I mean, they putted on greens that were our fairways at best at Bay Point.
Well, and it's hard to kind of compare because everybody had to use, and just like now, everybody can use whatever equipment they want that's available. It was the same thing that was back then, but it's a tough one. And I guess I would kind of reframe that question and say, do you think Arnold, Jack, and Tom would have been just as good in this era as they were in that era? I guess that's another way to kind of reframe that question. Like, you know, the equipment was very, very different back in the day. I mean, the ball was so much different. The ball went so much further. The forgiveness of the clubs wasn't there. So do you think the talent that they had to have to be as dominant needed to be more talent than in this day and age because of the equipment and the ball? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in, let's say 1950, you pick up a golf club and it's like, oh, what is this? what does it do? How do I hit the ball from point A to point B? I mean, now you got TrackMan, you got all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And but so from a raw talent standpoint, I mean, I do like the fact that Nicholas and Player and all those guys just picked up a stick, if you will. I wouldn't even call it a golf club, just a stick, and was able to get it in the hole and shoot 69 or 70, back in the day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's good stuff.
So you think that if you were to put them in this era, they would be as dominant in this era as they were in that era?
Fair to say, now that we've kind of talked it through.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Question. Mm-hmm. Do you think it was easier to putt back in the day on slower greens or easier to putt in this day and age on fast greens?
Gosh, man, that's a tough one. I mean, you would think that you'd have to read the grain. I mean, God, could you imagine how grainy those greens were?
Full of grain. Might as well be a farm out there in Oklahoma.
Yeah. I don't know. Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me an answer. Quit dodging the answers and give me one.
I think it's easier today.
Today on fast greens?
Yeah. I mean, you've got better putters, better greens. We're using mirrors now to create like a better stroke.
Yeah.
I mean, 20 years ago, if you saw somebody putting with the mirror on the putting green, you just didn't see it.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely easier today.
I would agree. And I think, too, whenever you have to putt the ball harder, it makes it harder to keep your putter face square, keep your arc on path, whereas when greens are faster, you really just got to get it started, right?
Yeah.
So there's not as much oomph, in my opinion, you have to put into the putt to get it on the correct line. So I think it makes your margin of error. Now, if you struggle with feel, which we're talking about, we're using people on the PGA Tour and Live Tour as our barometer here. They're obviously all good putters. I think less can go wrong from your actual getting the ball on the right line when the greens are faster than when they're slower.
Yeah, and who's to say that back in the day, I mean, it was the ball even round most of the time, with the technology. I mean, now they, on a cold day, I mean, you got players putting balls in microwaves before. I mean, there's all this stuff that's going on today that, they didn't even probably putt with a round ball back then.
They're carrying around microwaves in their golf bags?
Well, I mean, maybe in the clubhouse before. I've heard of that. On a good cold day, they'll put a couple of golf balls in a microwave to. I mean, dude, everybody's looking for that one little.
Yeah.
Hey, look, in
it's
qualifying,
golf. They're neurotic as heck. So
in qualifying Wednesday night at Daytona, these guys were using their left arm on the straightaway to resist the wind. I mean, like they're searching for everything.
But that makes sense from a physics standpoint. Because the window's open, right?
Right.
And it's got the netting across it. That's going to create drag when you're going at that speed. So even if you can give it another, however, 2 inches or however wide your arm is to create, that makes sense. I mean, at those speeds. But everybody's always looking for something in sports. And
it's
a lot
crazy,
of times
man.
it ends up being pretty quirky.
Yeah.
That is for sure. We'll go ahead and take another quick break, little quick timeout. When we get back, we'll continue discussing some of these fun Friday topics. Also want to talk about Caitlin Clark and what she did yesterday. And I have a question that I'm asking you about Pistol Pete Maravich, your boy, and see what you think about that. Don't be worried. You'll have the answer. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Chad Mitchell will be making an appearance back on Monday.
Chad's
He's been
traveling
gone for
the
2
world.
weeks now.
He's
We'll ask
funny.
him.
We'll ask him live. He calls some of them.
We'll do an exam on air.
Yeah.
Kind of like Katie Couric, that time. Okay.
We'll rake in the dough, man.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
My name is Linda Cope, founder and president of Warrior Beach Retreat. Line the streets February 22nd to honor the men and women who have served and sacrificed for the freedoms we enjoy. Attend the ceremony, which is free and open to the public, February 22nd at 7 p.m. at First Baptist Church of Panama City. Colonel Alan West will be the speaker. Information for the parade route and ceremony are on our website, warriorbeachretreat.org. never forget, freedom isn't free. We saw this firsthand after our son, Army retired Sergeant Joshua Cope, lost both legs above the knee and wounded his hands by an IED blast in Baghdad, Iraq. When a soldier goes to war, a family goes to war. We are a local 501c3 charity not affiliated with Wounded Warrior Project. Donations are needed and much appreciated for us to continue the vision to bring hope and healing for the combat wounded warriors and their loved ones. God bless you all, and God bless America.
Attention homeowners, are you dreaming of a backyard oasis? Look no further than S&R Fencing, your go-to destination for quality outdoor transformations. At S&R, they specialize in crafting custom fences, decks, retainer walls, and all exterior construction that not only enhances the beauty of your home, but also stands the test of time. Their experienced team takes pride in delivering top-notch craftsmanship with a personal touch. S&R Fencing, locally owned, licensed, and insured, and a member of the BBB.
We're starting fresh.
Fresh new start. Locally sourced, Farm to Radio. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is live and local. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive on this fun Friday. Give us a call if you want to chime in on any of these fun sports topics. And one of those we're about to dive into is what we talked yesterday before the show ended. And Caitlin Clark only needed 8 points going into last night's game against Michigan. A little Big Ten matchup there. And she ended up scoring, I think, 49 total points. But she only needed 8 points to become the all-time Division I leading scorer on the women's side for basketball. She needed 2 minutes and 15 seconds into the game to get that. She hit a three-pointer from basically the Iowa Hawkeyes logo to do it, as she is, just great for the women's game of basketball. There's no doubt about that. She finished with 49 points, which fitting on the day she needed to break the record. That was a new career high and also an Iowa women's basketball record of points in a single game. She broke Kelsey Plum's points total record of 3,527 in 139 games. Caitlin Clark now has 3,569 points, and she did it in only 126 there, Jay Henley. Next milestone, which I'm going to ask both of you guys if you think she's going to break it, and I think they got about 4 regular season games to go, but then they've also got the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament as well. Pete Maravich's NCAA record is 3,667 points, so that means Caitlin Clark only has 99 points to go to become the all-time leading scorer in any men's or women's Division I basketball. What do you guys think? You think she breaks the record?
I mean, if I'm the coach, I'm kind of setting my
Plus, she just scored 49 points.
Yeah,
so, she averages, I think, 30 now more. She was averaging going into that game 32 points per game. Now she's averaging, obviously, it went up because she scored 49 yesterday, but really she could probably do it in 3 more games.
Potentially, I mean, this could never happen again. And, if I'm coach, I'm like, look, let's pass it to Caitlin and let's make this happen. So
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. What do you think, David Hayes? Do you think she breaks that record by Pistol Pete?
I'll say, I don't even know what the numbers are.
99. She only needs 99 points, and she averages 35 points a game.
How many more games does she have?
They got 4 more regular season games, but I think this is like career games.
Career.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, probably. She'll just sit there. And
she'll probably do it before the regular season ends.
Yeah.
Yep. But let me ask you guys this little follow-up question. Do you think it's fair to compare and have that record be broken, even though when Pistol Pete did it, there was no three-point line?
Ooh. I think the games were totally different, period. But it's fair to compare because that's what we play the game for. So,
exactly.
And two different, two different levels of competition.
Yeah,
if you will. So,
absolutely.
I mean, it is what it is. I think it's very impressive. I think she's taken the world by storm. And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just funny when people get to certain heights or whatever, and Nebraska beat them the other day or whatever, and the coach is in there like talking during the Nebraska press conferences, saying certain things, and it's just like, I mean, to be honest with you, I hope Iowa loses every game. Like, I just don't like them. Like, I like what Caitlin Clark is doing, but maybe it's just me. When anything becomes popular, I'm like, I don't like that.
Yeah. You don't want to roll with the masses. Yeah, I get it. But she certainly had an effect on not only Iowa home games, but also road games as well. Iowa sold out every home game, while its away games have seen a 150% increase in attendance. Two of the most watched women's college basketball games on Fox ever are now two games from Iowa this particular year. And her trading card just sold for $78,000, which is a record for women's hoops. So she has certainly moved the needle in many different ways. So congratulations to Caitlin Clark on making that one happen. That is for sure. All right, let's get back to some of these other fun Friday topics there, Jay Henley. You guys might be able to speak to this one a little more than I can, because I just don't know a whole lot without doing research. But is the best spring training for baseball in the state of Florida?
I would agree with that. I mean, not that
yeah, but like we're kind of handcuffed at that one because I've only been to Floridian spring training, never Cactus League.
Yeah. I've never been to Arizona, so I don't know. Yeah. Good question.
Yeah, no, because and that's coming from our good friend Matt Jones, and then he said, okay, well, let me double down on that. East side or west side of the state? Which one has better spring training there? He's a Cardinals fan, so he's going with east over there in Jupiter, Florida. What do you think, Jay Henley? I just don't know off the top of my head where the locations are.
I don't either, and it changes because Braves were at Disney. Are they still at Disney?
They're at Cool Today Park, which is about an hour away from Sarasota.
Okay, so there's
been,
a lot of
2 years since they've been at Kissimmee. Yeah.
So then you could say the west side.
There you go.
Throw your dubs
So
up.
let's go west.
Because you're a Braves guy. Ronald Acuna announced earlier, or just mentioned, tweeted, whatever you want to do it, that he said he wants a lifetime contract because he only ever wants to be an Atlanta Brave.
Hey, man, that's somebody wanting to...
Freddie said the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
People can say stuff, and then they'll just pull your heart out and step on it.
Yeah.
But, hey, maybe they'll lock them up. I don't know. Do they ever do lifetime deals in baseball?
They do technically lifetime deals. Like Albert Pujols, when he went to the Angels, was essentially a career. It was going to be the rest of his career, but they never hold. It's just like football or all of these other salaries. Like, that's why I don't even pay attention to it anymore, because it's like, we're over the salary cap, but all of a sudden we've turned this into a bonus, and now we're under the salary cap. Like, they can cook it however they want to, so I don't pay attention to none of it.
There you go. A lot of different ways to cook the egg there, Jay Henley.
I just feel like we're at the brink of Braves and Dodgers have always been a good rivalry. I just feel like with all the media on the Dodgers this year, I just feel like the Braves-Dodgers are going to be some great games.
Oh, they're going to be massive, especially with the roster that the Dodgers have. That first series up there in Truist Park is going to be a fun one, that's for sure. That's going to be a sought-after ticket.
Yeah,
that is for sure. All right, question from Chris Fall. Which team has the craziest fans in all sports? We've talked about this one a little bit, but we can revisit it. What do you think, Jay Henley?
Craziest fans.
All sports, across the book.
Caveman Rick, I hate to throw this out there, but Philadelphia Eagles, they're pretty cray-cray.
Yeah.
I mean,
in Philadelphia, just the Eagles specifically, or Philadelphia sports as a whole?
Well, let's go Phillies as well. There's something in the water in Philly.
What about the Flyers?
I don't know much about the Flyers.
They're crazy.
Are they crazy?
Yeah, 76ers. I think Philadelphia probably is one of the city as a whole.
Yeah.
But, you could really peel this one back a little bit and really dive into, like, soccer, right? Because some of these European leagues, Champions Leagues, UEFA leagues, all these different leagues, in South America as well. I mean, there's so many really good documentaries on club soccer teams and the craziness of their fans. So I'm going to throw out that soccer fans for their specific clubs are the craziest. That's my number one anyway. David Hayes, what do you think? Great hat again, by the way.
Soccer fans for sure are the craziest. There's not even a question. What I mean, maybe not the American soccer fans because they haven't gotten to that level yet. But if you're like you look at some of those things that have happened at soccer games, I mean.
Well, and also the rivalries in soccer. We talk about rivalries in American sports, right? You've got, Eagles fans, Niners fans, Eagles fans, Cowboys fans.
I take it back. It is youth parents.
Ooh. Craziest fans. There you go. Just dial it back just a little bit. Be passionate, but don't be rude.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm just being facetious. Right?
You've got some. There's some
pretty good.
There's some validity to that. That's for sure. But I would. The soccer stuff is certainly a wild and crazy thing. There's no doubt about that. Which is just funny because, like David just said, on the American side with the MLS, and you're seeing some other stuff start to infiltrate the country from a football standpoint. It's just it hasn't surpassed your college football and your NFL football yet.
Were there any reports of property being damaged in San Francisco Sunday night?
I'm sure there's a lot of TVs that have been put out on the curb with dents and stuff like that.
Okay.
I enjoy watching on my TV, so I would never damage my own
you
TV.
got a nice frame on that TV, too.
I don't want to get started.
Okay,
on
all right.
that.
Okay.
I got you. We Jimmy rigged it because I wasn't going to spend the extra money to buy the one that came with it, so we bought the cheap little one, and there's a lot of alien tape behind that TV.
Is there? Okay.
But, hey, alien tape's a powerful thing.
At least you got a stand. I don't have a stand.
Yeah, that's true. I still got to make that happen. I got to get you. I got to get into your apartment one day without you knowing and put a mount up there on it. I think I've got one extra.
Do you?
Because I had to put some in our house over there in Lindell. But yeah.
But you informed me that once that mount goes on there, that's part of the house, right?
Yes, but it's an apartment, right?
Yeah.
So you're not selling your apartment. So
right.
You I think you can take it down at that point.
But if you can you take the TV down before you sell the house?
No.
So once you put a mount up, it's
when your house is for sale. Now, if you take it down before you put your house on the market,
right,
absolutely.
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
But then you're going to have to do some patchwork and all that stuff.
That's easy, though.
Yeah, but when your house becomes for sale, when it is on the market, that TV, anything on the wall attached does convey.
Then the next house I get, dude, I'm just gonna attach the weirdest of weird stuff on there. Here you go, welcome to my humble abode, and now it's yours.
Yeah. And of course, being the husband of a real estate company owner, you can ask for anything in a real estate deal that's in that house, and you can tell people stuff. Typically, your fridge, your oven, your microwave, that stuff. Some washer and dryer, many a times as well. Usually, is part of the normal stuff that comes, but in the real estate world, crazy stuff happens, and there's been a lot of opportunities where people were like, well, I want to keep my fridge, so I'm going to take my fridge with me, but everything's negotiable.
Yeah.
Everything's negotiable, yes, but once your property is for sale, that stuff attached to the wall does have to be part of that. So just food for thought. If you have a house and you start putting up 100 TVs, you got to be before you sell it, take down everything, get it fixed.
AG wants to know if the TV on the wall during the for sale is a Florida thing or not.
That I don't know the answer to, because the only experience I have is in the state of Florida. But I'll make a text here in this in our top of the hour break and see if I can get that answer. She'll be just proud that I used the word conveyed multiple times today on the air.
I heard the other day randomly, that in the state of Florida, and I actually heard this at a Florida Golf Therapy Alliance. We were just random talking with them. Gift cards do not expire in the state of Florida?
Yep. That's why we do gift certificates at Bay Point.
Really?
Yes. So if a business ever tells you that gift card is expired, that's not legal.
Son of a gun.
Yeah. So all the gift cards you do with jhanleyGolf.com.
Those, I know.
In perpetuity, forever. It's a state law. You can move. And then you have to come back to Florida to suffice the, you have to pay it out.
I will
no, that's a true thing. That's a true thing.
Yeah.
And I don't really know the reasoning behind that. I could speculate, but I don't know why they don't expire.
That $36 million jackpot lottery does
South
expire.
Carolina. It expired this Super Bowl Sunday. That's the number, 36 million.
36 million.
God. I guess if you don't know, you're not disappointed. But then if you like, oh man, this was a winner, and then I'm surprised it expires.
How many hoarders do you think out there with the tickets, like going through every one of their tickets right now?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
a pile of them.
Pile of tickets.
Yeah.
You should probably pay attention more if you're buying that many.
I would agree.
But yeah, you buying a lottery ticket? Are you going random numbers, or are you picking your own?
I like the birthdays, like the 8, 19, go with
My dad's
that.
the same way.
Yeah. And now, back in the day, back 30 years ago, I think it went from 1 to 44. Now we're up to like 80 or 90.
There's a lot of numbers, yeah.
So now you can use your birth year, if you're born in 80, like me.
Yeah.
So 8, 19, 80 are 3 good numbers for me.
There you go.
If I play the lottery.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of superstition when it comes to that kind of stuff. That's for sure. But a lot of money to be had, a lot of things to happen in that one. But yeah, I think we can agree that craziest fans of all sports, definitely the soccer hooligans. That's for sure. You could probably throw some rugby folk in there as well with New Zealand and the All Blacks and teams like that. So because it's a rowdy fan base as well. But but a good time nonetheless. We'll go ahead and take our top of the hour break. We'll continue on with some of our fun Friday topics. A lot of them kind of tie together, but there's a couple good ones too as well to discuss going on and that good stuff. But you are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents the most college basketball.
Three-pointer. College basketball is back.
The Panhandle's destination for live play-by-play.
The SEC, ACC, and beyond.
Oh, you saw that coming, Rampant.
The biggest games play right here.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Friday's weather. This afternoon and evening there will be a light breeze out of the south, light sprinkles and clouds, and 63. Very light rain tonight, about the same at 59. Tomorrow, raining moderately and a gentle breeze right around 11 miles per hour with a high of 63. A bit colder at 57 Sunday, and we'll have some clouds. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumberyard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Lynn Haven, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
There's nothing more satisfying than helping you find the perfect vehicle. And this month, find something you love at just 2.99% APR on our most popular models. Plus 90 days until you make your first payment. Like the 2024 Camry with stylish good looks and impressive performance. Or the 2024 Corolla, built for comfort and style with top-notch tech. Panama City Toyota. For over 30 years, where relationships are born.
Offer expires March 4th. For details, visit PanamaCityToyota.com.
For the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey and Jay Henley.
This man is destroying golf.
Broadcasting live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios.
You may be right, but our ratings are up and we're attracting new youthful sponsors.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Skyrockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 in Panama City Beach, 101.9 in Port St. Joe along the Forgotten Coast. You can watch and listen on Facebook. Just search ESPN Northwest Florida. YouTube, just search ESPN Northwest Florida. Go in there and subscribe, follow, like, all that good stuff. Comment and give us the thumbs down. And if you feel that way, that's fine too. We're open to all the constructive criticism here on the Inside Drive. And then last but not least, go download that mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. That one you do got to throw a little 104.3 in front of that ESPN Northwest Florida. You can take it right on your phone. You pull up the app, you hit the play button, boom, you got live ESPN Northwest Florida right there. 3 live great shows here as well. But also want to give a shout out to our studio sponsor. That's Bill Kramer GM and Kramer Marine and Outdoor right there at the corner of 23rd Street and Frankfurt Avenue. They got a big scratch and dent sale going on right now after that storm came through back in early January. But the kicker with that is not all of them are scratched or dented, but they're doing it for all vehicles. Some trucks up to $20,000 off that MSRP. Go check them out there. Again, on the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd Street. And it's getting closer every day. Days are getting longer. Temperatures is getting warmer. Water's getting warmer. The fish are biting. And if you want to go out there and catch some fish, what do you need, Jay Henley?
What do you need? You need bait.
Yeah, that is it.
Fishing line.
That is true as well.
Rod and reel.
That is very true.
Water.
Yeah.
And some fish.
Fish.
Yeah.
But to coincide with the sponsor that I'm talking about.
Oh.
What do you need to go?
You need a boat. You need a skeeter boat.
A skeeter boat, yes. Sundance, all part of that CRI family, and you can get that all right there at Kramer Marine and Outdoor. And if you already have a boat, but it's not able to get out on the water, you need to get it back out on the water, all you got to do is give them a call. They'll come fix your boat for you. And if they can't fix it at your dock or at your property, they'll tow it into Kramer Marine and Outdoor and get you fixed up. Or if you're tired of having your boat and tired of not catching fish like I do, they'll come pick up your boat and they'll sell it for you. They'll do all the hard work and just take a small little percentage to get that done for you. You don't want to deal with the hassle of trying to talk to people through Facebook Marketplace. Are these people going to show up? Do I trust these people? Because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world out there, and let Kramer Marine and Outdoor take care of that boat selling for you. So go check them out at the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd Street. That's Bill Kramer, GM, and Kramer Marine and Outdoor. Got to clear the airways because I was incorrect. I gave my beautiful bride, Beth, a call during that break, and it is not the TV. It is just the bracket.
Okay.
It's just the bracket. Anything glued, screwed, or attached does convey, and that is specific from state to state. In the standard Florida real estate contract, it lists that in that contract. So I apologize. So you can take down your TV, but the bracket's got to stay.
Gotcha.
So if the bracket stays, typically, you're probably, but the people can ask for the TV to stay as well. But yeah. So if you're buying a house, the bracket's there, you don't have to worry about it. You just attach it to the new TV and boom, you're good to go.
Boom.
There you go. So I apologize for the little bit of misinformation, but that's the beauty. We cleared that thing up, and we know exactly what it is now. So anything glued, screwed, or attached does convey.
Glue stickers all over the wall. That's glued. It's got to stick.
Yeah, that's true. Stickers do have glue. That's how they stick.
I can't imagine putting one of those brackets up, though. Oh, my gosh. Have you ever, did it yourself?
Yeah, I've done it a lot.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's really not that hard. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
I remember years ago when the flat screen finally came out, you would see, posters on every corner street. It's like, I'll come put this up.
Now, if there's a lot of them and you want them done quickly, then calling a professional is good for that. That's for sure. Because it can be tricky because, if you don't have a stud, then you got to get the anchors in there and all that stuff. But the cool thing is TVs are so light nowadays that, it's really not that. And again, if I can mount a TV, anybody can mount a TV. That's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah, I mounted one at the Lindell house.
There you go.
Yeah, me and my dad did mount one back in the day at a house he had in South Carolina, and that was not pretty.
Yeah.
Because, it wasn't going well, and then we whipped out some nails and, got this thing stuck into the wall. So when we did move, getting that bracket off the wall, it was a mess, and we got it off the wall. And maybe in South Carolina, the bracket does not convey. So that's why we had to take it down.
But working with stuff above your head, man, that is the toughest thing ever.
It's tricky. It's tricky.
After 30 seconds, it's you just want to try to relax.
Yeah, and if you don't do it a whole lot, it can it certainly be tough. But if you don't do anything a lot,
true,
you do it once in a while, it's tough. Oh, we got a caller on the line, and it is that beautiful blonde-headed woman that was so gracious enough to say yes at Augusta National on number 12. Hopefully this isn't another Beth on the line, David, but Beth, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. So I wanted to remind you of the time that your mom moved here, and she was looking for somebody to mount her TV, and she found, I'd given her Facebook. I said, you need to go on Facebook. There's a guy who's called the TV Mountain Man, and she was reaching out to him and everything, and then come to find out, he wasn't mounting TV.
But there is a gentleman that does do it locally. But yeah, no, that was awkward. A little different action there.
What was he mounting, Beth?
Not TV.
Okay.
Hey, sometimes
deer heads or something.
Yeah, exactly. Just putting other things up on the wall.
It's kind of like the part in Varsity Blues where he tells the cop about.
We haven't had a Varsity Blues reference in quite some time.
Hey, those are cute Mount Me hats.
Yep.
Mount me?
Yep. But yeah, so that was good. I'm glad you brought that up because that was a classic, funny story. But while we got you on the line, anything you want to mention about Beach House sales and development?
We have a brand new waterfront development coming on North Lagoon that's going to have 4 waterfront homes. These are going to be estates with private pools, garage apartments. It's going to be one of the nicest communities to come to Panama City Beach in probably the last 20 years. So we're very excited about that. There's going to be 4 on the water and 4 interior homes. That should be rolling out within the next couple of weeks.
And each one of those does come with a boat slip, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
There you go. Always people looking for that deep water access here in Panama City Beach, and the Cloister will certainly be one of the newest ones. Pretty far down on the lagoon, too, so you're really not that big of a trip to get out to the pass out there, get out to the Gulf and catch some of those beautiful fish out there that I need other people to tell me how to catch, because I certainly don't know how to catch anything in our bay systems. I've thrown a lot of lines out there, but you, Beth, you're the only one. Well, actually, no, I take that back. Liam caught himself that daughter's lizard fish that one day that you actually had to end up taking off the hook for him because I was not there.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Yep. They don't. There's only the seconds are ticking when the fish comes out of the water, and Liam had to run all the way up from the dock, and unfortunately that one didn't make it. But
man, I just Googled that image.
I know it's a nasty looking fish, and it's got some good teeth on it as well, but.
It was
kind of like those flying things in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Definitely. And very,
very. One of us wanted to touch it.
Yeah, very fishy as well. Very, very fishy on that one. That's for sure. But yeah. Well, Beth, thank you for giving us a call and reminding us about that TV Mountain story. Make sure you always check those background references and what the actual deployment of that certain business is, because there's a lot of different ways to use words, and it wasn't certainly mounting TVs in that one. But she ended up getting it mounted. No, she ended up never getting the TV mounted. That's right. It's on a stand.
No, she did in her bedroom.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's right.
In her bedroom.
Hey, that's where she wanted the TV mounted.
This is fantastic.
I wonder if Gucky's listening. Well, Beth, have a wonderful time. We got to start getting some of those beach house agents in here on the show and talk about all the awesome stuff you guys got going on, because the market is certainly firing up again. That's for sure. I think you can tell all of our listeners out there that a little bit of a slowdown there in January, but based on what you guys are doing in your business, it seems like the market is certainly turning up. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely true. More buyers are out. The rates are coming down, prices are coming down, so it's just a good time to buy.
There you go. And the beautiful thing about Panama City Beach is it's still one of the best investment spots in the country for people looking to make some of that, what do they call that, passive income. And, your value to what you can make is still very high here in Panama City Beach. Even though prices have went up quite a bit, it's still, compared to other markets, where you're seeing a lot of rentals and stuff like that. And kudos to the CVB and all of our leaders here in our area that continue to bring events and things going on to make sure people are coming to visit our beautiful, beautiful, beautiful county and those beautiful white sandy beaches. Beth, we appreciate you calling in. Always good for a funny story on Fun Friday. And also appreciate you driving me all over the place because I cannot drive anywhere. And so far, we're still married, so that's very positive.
I was telling Dr. Scully and his wife this morning, I said, he's probably never going to ever ride in the car with me once he can drive again.
Are you a lead foot, Beth? Are you going to go for the Daytona 500 on Sunday?
She could win.
I am a lead foot, but I am also, I will turn quickly, and it drives him crazy because, I don't know, I think he still has a little issue with his head.
My equilibrium, I'm smashing my head against the windows as she's driving around Bay County. But it's all good. It's all fun.
Yeah.
It's all fun. I'm the typical one that, when all 4 of us are together, I'm usually the typically one driving the grocery wagon that we have there. So it's different. Maybe I'll not remember how to drive come the time I can drive, and you can just continue doing this.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Sounds like a good time, right?
That'd be great.
A good time. All right, well, we'll let you go, and hope you have a good lunch, and look forward to seeing you later on this afternoon.
All right. Bye.
Take care. That's Beth clarifying the Mountain Man story there. And there you go, Jay. All you got to do is create a Facebook page.
That was fantastic.
You can call yourself the TV Mountain Man, and you never know who's going to reach out.
You can't make this up.
Nope, you can't make it up, and that's what makes it beautiful. That is for sure. Had another good question come through on that Facebook post from earlier from our good friend Keith Fleming, and we've talked about this one before, but always good to rehash. What's the dumbest rule in sports currently, and how would you change it? You want to go first?
You guys go ahead. I got to think about that one for a second.
I do,
There's
too.
quite a few of them.
That's why I asked you. There's quite a few of them, then you already have some in your head.
Well, but I want to make sure that it's
fire
a good
them
one.
off.
It's a good one.
Fire them all off.
Just a rule in general.
In any sport.
Any sport.
Overtime rules in college football is stupid, especially going for the 2-point conversions after the third possession. If you really, really want to play shootout in football, then at least give us to the 5th overtime at that point, because football normally doesn't come down to the one play. In my opinion, I at least like a drive. Let's see what else. Picking off at first base, only 3 disengagements. I don't like that. I think that's ridiculous. Not saying that Ronald Acuna wouldn't have got 40-70, I don't think, last year. And I can't prove that, but I don't think he goes 40-70 with a limit on disengagements.
Sure.
Exactly, because then once you disengage twice, then he automatically knows, and he's too fast to automatically know that he's got a free jump.
Green light, knowing that he can't throw a pickoff attempt, that's it. And that's just what makes what Ricky Henderson did even more impressive. It's kind of like going back to the Pistol Pete thing without the 3-point line, with as many pickoffs attempts as he did. He was just a freak athlete. He could steal anything. That's for sure. Did you come up with one yet?
I'm slow, but I'm worth waiting on.
I know. That's what we tell the ladies.
There you go. Number 1, 35, kicking from the 35-yard you got to bring it back to the 20, 25. I think that's a crazy rule. Secondly, I sent you something the other day, amazing. When they the 4-ball rule where you just send them to first base. I mean, there's been times where a catcher's actually got back underneath, to squatting position and has struck somebody out.
Yeah.
So I don't like the 4-ball. I know we're talking about pace, blah, 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 but
you can speed through throwing 4 pitches.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, David Hayes.
No, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I think that's a terrible rule.
You may talk about 1 extra minute or something like that.
Yeah.
But because and we've talked about the baseball rules and the changes and how they made the games a lot faster, and it seems like it's increased engagement from fans in the sport. But it kind of alleviates the fun trickeration kind of different things that you can do in the sport. Like, can you still even pull off the hidden ball trick with all the new rule changes? Probably. I don't know if that really actually affects it. But, like you just said, you pitch 2 strikes and then you decide to pitch out, and then that last pitch you drop back in, and if he throws a strike, he's out. That was a cool example.
Yeah,
that was a cool example. But
what about you, Ron?
That's a good one. I mean, on the golf side of things, I think there's certainly some rules, and they've made some good changes, that's for sure. I'm trying to think off the top of my head that are some. I don't like some of the hockey rule changes that they did. I still hang my hat on the. I wish they would have never created the trapezoid for the goalies to handle the puck behind the goal line. I think if a goalie wants to take a risk and go out in the corner and get a puck, let the goalie go out and get a puck in the corner. I mean, but that ties into the icing rule as well, because before, we didn't. The only level of hockey that didn't have the automatic icing whistle without it being touched up was the NHL, and then they adopted that again. Safety thing, players getting hit, you're skating full speed to go get that puck, and a lot of people would get hurt. It's the same thing with the kickoff in the NFL. But
so the goalie has an exact space that he can only be in?
Behind the goal line, there's a trapezoid that was created that the goalie can only touch the puck in that area. And I call it the Marty Brodeur rule, because Marty was so good at handling the puck. So was Ron Extall, Caveman Rick. He was great at it too. There's no doubt about that. But Marty was so good at handling the puck that he was almost like an additional player out there. He was just fantastic at it. So, but I think that rule was created again from that injury standpoint, getting back to, you know, touching, because you used to have to touch up an icing, and I know you have no idea what an icing is. But back in the day, if you shot the puck from behind the red line and it went down behind the goal line, a player from the defending team would have to touch that puck for it to be an icing. Now it's
Did it used to be red line?
It's always been red line.
Oh, wait, yeah, I'm tripping. I had blue line as the middle line for a second.
You're good.
I was like,
you're good. I was like, I thought I might have misspoke there for a second.
No, that's me.
But yeah, so the defending player would actually have to touch the puck once it went behind the goal line for it to be an icing. Now it's just the ref blows the whistle once it gets behind, and that's a safety thing. And then college hockey does that, AHL, minor league, all the way down does non-touch-up icings. But I always like when the highest level of the professional sport has different rules than everything else.
Right, which is why I don't like college football just trying to copycat the NFL rules, like for the clock rules and stuff like that. That's why I like the 1 foot in, because you're not professionals, 2 feet in.
There's
like,
gotta
let's be a difference in amateur and
baseball, metal bats versus the wooden bats.
Right, so we need to get professional golfers using wooden clubs again.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Don't dial back the ball, just dial back the equipment.
There we go.
But there's just too many rules, though, in my opinion. I know you got to have rules, I get it, but I mean, we just complicate things so much in our society, and it trickles down even to sports. I mean, it seems like.
Plus, like we're playing 10U ball now in baseball, so now you can lead. You know, if that third strike pitch is dropped, you can take off and go to first, and so there's just a lot that these kids have to learn in a short period of time. I mean, golf has obviously got, in my opinion, the most rules out of any sport, just because there's so many scenarios that can come up. I know I didn't really give an answer in the dumbest rule in sports. How about this? Get rid of the restrictor plate.
Oh, there you go.
Just let them go.
Just let them go.
Just let them go.
If they want to drive 230 miles an hour, let them drive 230 miles an hour.
Yep. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I go back to 30, 40 years ago. These guys at Daytona would show up, like I said, 2 weeks early. They'd work on their own car. They'd do all that. And now it's just become such a, you know, they got to go through inspection 45 different times and, you know, all that stuff. But I'm with you, Ryan. Let cars be cars and let the driver win not the manufacturer win the race, but let the driver win the race.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Dale Earnhardt Sr. was so good about in the 90s. He always had that. They called him the Intimidator because he always just had that extra edge on everybody. Yeah. Nobody has that extra edge. They're using their left arm now as an edge. But yeah, no, great one. I love it.
I don't know. Yeah, you could liken Tiger Woods to Dale Earnhardt Sr. Mm-hmm. Kind of one of those things you knew when he was there. You're like, oh crap.
Yep, it's over with.
It's funny how the sports just kind of cycles through all that stuff. But speaking of sports, you know who's in the lead out there at the Genesis Invitational after a good start, 3 under on his round today after shooting a 65 yesterday? It's 2 players, actually. And Keith Fleming mentioned one of these guys as a long shot to win, and that's Jason Day and Luke List. Patrick Cantley got out to a great start yesterday, shot a little 64. Arguably, those last 3 holes at Riviera are very tough to come in on, and you see a lot of guys get out to a hot start on the front 9 and kind of limp in a little bit there. But Patrick Cantley does not tee off until 1:42 our time. We can hear that through the mic.
Oh, sorry.
It's quite all right. Quite all right, but Cam Davis in that 4 spot at -6, Mackenzie Hughes at -5. Currently, Jay, the cut line is projected at +1, so if you're a +1 or better, you are going to make it to the weekend, and right now that only has, 12 people missing the cut, but you know what your boy shot yesterday, right?
1 over?
He shot 1 over, so he's going to have to shoot even or better to make the cut into the weekend at the Genesis, so we'll see if he can do that. Unfortunately, Justin Thomas also shot +1 yesterday as he kind of had a blow up. I think he started out pretty darn good. Let me look at round 1.
Who was this?
Justin Thomas.
Oh, yeah. He played good last week. I mean, he was top 5.
We talked about him a little bit. Yeah, no, he shot. He was 34 because he started on the back 9, so he was 34 on his first 9 holes, but then ended up shooting 3 over on his second 9 holes. So got it going a little bit, but then just couldn't bring it all the way in. When we get back, we'll continue answering some of these fun topic questions, which we appreciate. appreciate very, very much. Also going to talk a little bit about the Stadium Series as we got a doubleheader coming up this Saturday at MetLife Stadium with some hockey action going on. Anxious to see, because for the first time, my New Jersey Devils will be playing in an outdoor game. Ooh, excited to see that one. You guys are listening to Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The afternoon underdog.
I don't think that many fans really honestly care about these players making money, and they should be allowed to make money off of their name, image, and likeness. Now, with it being and I'm using the air quotes here, amateur sport, it shouldn't be pay to play. Yeah, there you go. But it should not be,
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Friday. Lightly sprinkling and cloudy the rest of the day with a wind at 6 miles per hour coming out of the south and 63. Tonight, look for a light breeze and very light showers with a temperature near 59. Tomorrow, a high around 63 and raining moderately. Sunday, warm with a high of 57 and some clouds. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been your portable building specialist since 1989. Before you invest your hard-earned money someplace else, owner Jason Mulder invites you to stop by Bestway and get a quote on just about any size building. And whether you buy with Bestway or not, it's worth the trip just to meet Bestway Buddy. Say hello, buddy. Good boy. Bestway Portable Buildings, just north of Harts Marine on 231, and online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. The best in portable, period. Tell them Buddy sent ya.
Sports fans, we love our teams, but let's talk real estate for a moment. Meet Berg Title, your trusted local real estate title and escrow company. Based in downtown Panama City, Berg Title knows the community inside out. They handle everything from title searches to escrow services with expertise. Honest, reliable, and here to make your real estate journey smooth. Remember, it's Berg Title. Call them at 850-250-2900. That's Berg Title, your partner for a worry-free real estate experience in Panama City and Panama City Beach.
Coming in hot.
So hot.
It'll be a hot one. Really hot. Goddamn.
The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. I had a little bit of a brain fart there and forgot it is Friday, so that means at 12:20 we always have Aaron Bearden from Instant Replay Sports Cards. We had him on the line, but the call did drop, so we're going to go ahead and get him back on the line real quick, and then we'll dive into some of their awesome stuff that they've got going on, as it's less than a week until their big break is coming up. When we get Aaron back on the line, we'll talk a little bit more about that big break. Jay, while we're trying to get him back on the line, a couple other interesting topics there, and I want to know this one for you. Mm-hmm. Who do you think should be on the cover of NCAA 25?
Why did I see Jordan Travis on social media?
I think, and it's funny, one of the, Keith Hall had said, why Jordan Travis should be on the cover of the NCAA football, because he was clearly the most valuable player in the country, because we know the FSU fans are still bitter about getting knocked out of the college football playoff because Jordan Travis had got injured. So it's kind of that thing. Well, if he got injured and they got knocked out because of it, he should have been the Heisman Trophy winner, should have been the most valuable player in the country. So, but I don't know if it can be a player from the previous year or it has to be a player that's in season playing. So, but who would you like? So
Penix, maybe?
He's going into the draft. He's going in. But we got him back on the line. That's Aaron Bearden from Instant Replay Sports Cards down there in the Stanford Station Shopping Plaza. They got a big one coming up in 6 days. Aaron, how are you doing today?
Oh, fantastic, man. How you guys?
Oh, we're doing great on this fun Friday here in Panama City Beach. So, we got 6 days left. And 6 days left until what there, Aaron?
6 days until the big break of February, which this month it is all football. So our big break is a group break of a lot of really expensive boxes, the way you can get in on all the fun, possibly pull some really huge cards without having to buy all these boxes yourself. So it's a random team break. Everybody that buys in will get a team. If you buy more than one spot, you get more than one team. Right now, we're looking at, there are 5 hobby boxes in this break covering 2020, 21, 22, and 23. So potentially any of those rookie autos in there, from Jalen Hurts to Burrow to Tua, all the way up to Purdy and Stroud. So basically any team really has a shot at pulling something decent out of there.
Yeah, I love the fact that you're doing it across so many years, because that just, because people are fans, and we've talked about it a lot on this show. There's people that are fans of teams, but there's also people that are fans of a lot of individual players, and your fandom seems to definitely get into your card collecting and your hobby trends. So being able to have 5 amazing hobby boxes in this break, it really opens up a huge opportunity for people looking for a lot of different players, which is why I encourage people to get in on this break. And it's going to be at 7 p.m. next Thursday and you can come into the store. The store will be only open for people participating in the breaks, but if you can't make it, you can still participate in the break if you can't make it live, correct?
Yes, 100% truth. Yes, we will be streaming it on our Facebook page. So if you just can't make it, or if you're not in it, you just want to watch it and see what comes out, you can jump on our Facebook page there and watch it all unfold in real time. And it's like you said, it's a lot of good products. We're going to be adding at least one more incentive opportunity this week to get people in. So this one will be for people who have already bought in by the time this incentive goes out. So definitely, if you're considering it, go ahead and jump in. Last time we did this, we added a couple of extra boxes, and we gave a box away last month, but it was only for people who had already bought in by a certain point.
Ooh.
So, so one of the guys picked up a free hobby box in addition to whatever came out of the break.
That's sweet. Glad I'm already in.
Jump on in.
Aaron, I was going to ask you a question, I guess a more personal question. What would you like to have out there from a memorabilia standpoint, baseball card, whatever, that you currently don't have?
Ooh, good question.
For just myself, or just something to cash in on?
Yeah, well,
both.
Yeah, both. Yeah, let's go both. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, cash in. I'm going to go high dollar. So, a graded 1052 tops mantle, and Honus Wagner, P206, something like that. As far as just, piece of memorabilia, just because it'd be cool personally, I like the players that are kind of characters. That we've been doing this since I was a kid. My dad started doing shows since I was 7. So I never really got the thing of just collecting things I really got to keep for a long time. If we got something cool, it had to go out for sale.
Yeah.
So I didn't form the attachments to a lot of the really popular players because I know I couldn't keep their stuff. So it kind of forced me to look for some of the, maybe second-tier players who weren't as in demand, and if we got something of theirs, I could kind of put it aside. So I kind of grew interested in players like Mark Fidrich and Doc Ellis, and some of those guys are just really fascinating to read about and kind of thought a little differently. Bill Spaceman Lee from the Red Sox. Guys who were just out there and kind of did things their own way. So there are some items like that, like Doc Ellis's no-hitter. I'm sure somewhere out there somebody's got to have a ball or a jersey or something from that game.
Yeah.
Something like that would be really interesting to have in a collection.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that'd be neat.
Was Doc Ellis an actual, you think of Doc Rivers and Doc Ellis, Dr. J, Dr. Jerry Punch. Do you remember Dr. Jerry Punch, ESPN commentator?
Yeah.
Are they all doctor? Or is it no doctor? They just get that
I don't think a single one of those guys finished med school.
Just nicknames.
Just nickname.
Doc Ellis, though, did have, from what I understand, quite a store of pharmaceuticals on hand, very often. So maybe in that sense it applied to him.
He kind of capitalized on his name there and did some extra things and make some extra cash, yeah.
Jimmy G?
Well, he famously, allegedly threw the no-hitter while he was under the effect of some substances.
That's impressive.
There's a whole documentary about it. It's one of the wildest games in Major League history. He was so so out there as far as the pitching. I think he hit 5 or 6 batters, and basically just the other team couldn't figure out what he was doing because he was seeing things that were not there.
That's amazing.
He said he thought for a while that the home plate umpire was Richard Nixon.
I need to watch this documentary because that sounds interesting as heck.
There's a report that like somebody bunted at one point and he hit the ground like a grenade hit the ground. It's
That's
wild.
crazy.
I think at one point he fielded a grounder and like ran over to first and got the guy out, and then he spiked the ball on first like he'd scored a touchdown. It's just a bunch of weird things. And he had done so many odd things like that in his career. Like I say, he was just kind of a different guy. I don't doubt his story. In 74, 75, something like that, he was with the Pirates, I believe, and they played the Reds. And, the Reds in the mid-'70s were, like, unstoppable.
Yeah.
Particularly in the National League, they were just kind of the team. And all the other Pirates pitchers were scared to go up against the Reds, so they're having a team meeting in the clubhouse, and Ellis said, look, I'll face them. I'm not scared. And he said, I'll show you guys how you pitch to the Reds. So the manager put him in and said, yeah, you get to start today. He goes in, and the first guy comes up, like Perez or Rose, whoever led off for the Reds, he hits him right away, puts him on first. Next guy comes up. Now, I don't recall him, for Griffey or whoever. He hits him. Third guy comes up. Ellis throws like 4 pitches at him. Guy hits the dirt every single time. They're all right at him. He finally gets a walk. Fourth guy just like doesn't want to come up. The manager comes out and goes, what are you doing? He said, well, I told you I could show you I'm not scared of these guys. This is how you have to pitch them. I mean, no, you can't just hit all 27 guys in the game, man. You have to actually get them out.
We just needed Bob Uecker just to say, just a bit outside.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Man, what a crazy guy this guy
I
is.
need to watch a little bit more about him.
Yeah.
Because that sounds very, very interesting. But, yeah. Now, getting back to, like, the Mickey Mantle PSA 10, do those actually exist? And if they do, there's probably only, like, a couple of them in the world, I would assume, from that long ago.
Yes, there are 3. There's one SGC 9.5, which actually, by quite a few accounts, looks better than any of the PSA 10s, which is not hard to believe.
Yeah.
They're a stricter grader. They're a little more accurate than PSA. So the SGC 9.5 sold 2 years ago, something like that, for about $12.5 million.
Man, I guess if there's only 3 of them in the world, they're got a high demand, and whatever people are willing to pay for them is what they're worth.
Yeah, and the 310s, they're owned by people who don't need the money. I believe one of them is the owner of the Arizona Diamondbacks. You can look out there online; they'll tell you who. One of them is it's a big time lawyer, corporate lawyer type guy. So they're people who don't need the money. So somebody just trying to throw $15-20 million at them isn't gonna sway them. I believe the one that the Diamondbacks owner has, it goes on display sometimes. I've heard that there are times he'll put it on display at the ballpark, like in the team museum. You can come see it under glass with like an armed guard next to it.
Yeah.
They put it on display at the National Card Show a couple of years ago. Similar thing. Guards stood right next to it the entire time. But so he will at least make it available where people can see it with their own eyes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So there's that.
That's that'd definitely be cool to see in person. That's for sure.
Yeah, so much of that stuff gets vault by people and goes into private vaults, and nobody really gets to enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely.
After that, and so much of it it's out there, and we don't even know where some of these things are. The Braves have a mini bat signed by Babe Ruth. Because he ended his career with the Boston Braves for a very brief time, 6 weeks, 2 months, something like that. And it used to be in their team museum. When they moved to their new stadium, they don't know where it is now. It's in an office or a storage closet or something like that. I've asked several people that do tours and all there that are supposed to keep track of that stuff. I even talked to the guy who is the memorabilia manager for the Braves at the stadium. They're not quite sure where it is.
You think they're not quite sure where it is, or they're just not telling the public they're not quite sure where it is?
I think they don't know. The Braves used to, if you'd ever gone to Turner Field and you did the stadium tour, the museum tour, there was a train you could walk through, like a 1940s style train, and they had it decorated inside as if the players were traveling on it. And it was to show you what their accommodations were like, these tiny little compartments. They had old uniforms, or facsimile uniforms hanging up, all that sort of thing. When they moved to the new stadium, they went to take the train with them, and they realized that they could not get the train out of the other stadium. It was inside the museum. Wow. Short of knocking all the walls down, they couldn't move the train. So it's just sitting there inside a closed-off part of what is that Georgia Tech or something like that, using that stadium.
Man,
yeah,
that's
it's
crazy.
Just sitting there. So I don't doubt they literally have just boxed up that Davis bat somewhere and forgot where they put it.
I feel like you'd put together a little search committee party and put a concerted effort to try to find that bad boy. That's for sure. But,
they've got so much. They got Warren Spahn's Purple Heart.
Wow.
That he got in the military. They have so many pieces over there, plus all of those, Hank Aaron, MVP awards and that sort of thing that they've got throughout their history.
Yeah, that little section at Truist Park's pretty cool if you get to spend some time walking through and looking at all that. That's one of the cool things that I feel like baseball does better than all the other sports is, obviously, with football you got the Hall of Fame up there in Canton, and basketball you got the Hall of Fame, but baseball, the teams have their own museums too, and I think that just kind of makes baseball a little more unique from a history standpoint, and very, very, very cool to see, that's for sure.
Well, and I think, too, realistically, I think baseball has fundamentally changed its rules less than most of the other sports, so that those guys' accomplishments from 70 or 80 years ago or 100 years ago still sound impressive compared to the modern way the game is played. 60 home runs is still an incredible feat.
Yeah, that's very true.
300 wins, it's still incredible. Some of the other sports have, over time, they've changed or had to change. So that what happens is now when you see a guy getting close to breaking a record and they're on the game talking about it, they're talking about the 5 guys he's passed to get to where he is. They're all guys who played in the last 10 years or so. They're not bringing up most of those old guys, so the young fans don't really get a sense of who those guys were.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a great point on baseball compared to the other sports. I never really thought about it that way. That is certainly interesting. And we were talking about it earlier on the show today, and that was Caitlin Clark breaking the NCAA women's basketball point scoring record. And she also set the record for women's basketball sports trading card. Hers went for $78,000. So kind of cool to see on the women's side of basketball the impact she's had on some things. And we were talking about her potentially breaking Pistol Pete's basketball record, all levels and all genders. And a little different because, like you were saying, some of the fundamental rules in baseball haven't changed as much. In basketball, certainly with the addition of the 3-point line.
Maravich didn't have that.
Yeah, and so it's kind of tough to compare eras in other sports. And baseball certainly is definitely been more similar throughout the decades.
Sure, she's phenomenal. But I wonder how many people knew the name of the girl that she passed.
When I read it on the show earlier today, I was like, I'd never heard of I think it was Kelsey something. I got it right here, Kelsey Plum.
That's unfortunate because she had been the all-time leader up to this point. That's a great accomplishment in and of itself, and it's just a thing of, hey, maybe we're finally in an era where, any amazing accomplishment can be noted regardless of who achieved it.
Yeah, definitely. Got a couple minutes left, Aaron. Not only this big break coming up next Thursday, you've got some other big stuff coming up. You got a Rip Night coming up on the 24th. But before you talk about that, you also have, I know you guys announced earlier on Facebook this past week, you got JSA coming back. And I know I'm excited. I got one more thing that I forgot and I had found when we had moved. It's a signed hockey jersey from, I think it's either the 2005 or 2006 Carolina Hurricanes. So I'm definitely be heading back to your store for that one. What day and what time is that looking at for JSA to come right back here to Panama City so people don't have to send stuff away? They can get stuff authenticated just in a couple hours.
Sure. Yeah, so that's the weekend of May 11th. We're still trying to hammer out. I think we can get them Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, nice.
Because I believe we had them 2 days last time. But for sure, May 11th. All that information will be on our Facebook page, on our website, and on their page, which is SpenceLOA.com. As you said, they do autograph authentication on the site. They're the world's leading autograph authenticators. Big difference if you ship stuff to them. Takes them, a couple of months if they're behind. To get it back to you, you pay shipping and insurance and all that stuff. Here, you bring it in. They help you fill out the form. You pay your fee. You drop your item off. In about an hour and a half, you can come pick your item up. And if it's passed authentication, you get your certificate of authenticity right there on the spot to go home with you. If it's an item that needs a full letter of authenticity, they will have to still print that up and ship that to you. No different than if you mailed it to them, but you do save some money on the shipping and insurance.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I can attest firsthand when I came into the store and had several pieces that I had authenticated, and it was just awesome. We brought the stuff in, filled out the paperwork, went and had some lunch, came back, and had everything certified. Pretty cool offering that you guys do for everybody here in Bay County, because, once you have that certification and that authenticity on that autograph or whatever it may be, I mean, then at that point, if you're not trying to keep it for your personal collection and actually trying to sell it and make some money, that adds the security and the validation that you need to sell it and make some money off of it.
Yeah, and even for trying to keep it for insurance purposes and all that, to get it documented and, put it in their database and all, that can still be a very smart way to spend a little bit of money and have that peace of mind and all. Yeah, I got stuff I got to get done. I did a show 2 weeks ago. We met William Shatner and Alyssa Milano and tons of people, Rose McGowan, lots of people. And so I had gotten them some things, but some of the things from it I still have not gotten certified. So I'll be waiting on them to show up myself.
Nice.
To get some pieces done.
Is Shatner creepy in person like he is with his voice? Is that the dude from Unsolved Mysteries?
Well, I think he's done something like that. Robert Stack was a guy who did that.
Oh, that's right. Okay, never mind. Shatner did Rescue 911 back in the day.
Yes.
Yeah. It was a good show. That was cool.
Yeah. No, it depends on how you catch him. If he's been really busy and a lot of people, he doesn't talk very much. We happened to catch him immediately as he came out, and he was a little more talkative. He's very sarcastic. It's just sort of his nature. He's trying to be funny. Doesn't mean to be rude, I think, about it. But, it was a pretty cool little interaction. We'll talk about it one day.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's pretty cool. It was a really good show. We met a lot of really nice people, got a lot of things signed.
Nice.
That's awesome. And then
David Eckstein was there for sports fans.
Ooh, nice. There you go.
David, because his wife does Star Wars things. She's a voice actress. He happened to be there, and I'd met him before, and so he signed a baseball for me. He was like, just, kind of keep it to yourself. And he's like, I don't want to get mobbed here. He's like, most of these people don't even know who I am anyway. So he's really cool. Good guy.
Had a couple questions on Facebook on the live post, and I know Rick, Caveman Rick, that spends a lot of time with David on the Afternoon Underdogs. He got in on the break. He was curious how many spots left still out there on the break, because I think he was thinking about maybe getting another one. You there?
Hello? Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, he was just asking how many spots left on that big break coming up next Thursday, because if there is a couple extras, he's thinking about getting another one potentially.
Okay, yeah, there's room to get into it. I know we're on the home stretch with it, but yeah, there's still some room. If he wants to jump into it.
There you go.
Yeah, he comes in. We see him from time to time. Good guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Aaron, we appreciate your time and look forward to talking to you again next week. Go check out Instant Replay Sports Cards. It's open 7 days a week right there in the Stanford Station Shopping Plaza, located next to Academy Sports and Outdoors and the Sweet Frog Creamery. A lot of big stuff coming up. Big break coming up. They got a Rip Night coming up on the 24th. Every Friday night. This Friday night coming up, you got the Kids Club night, and then tomorrow you got the Saturday afternoon break starting at 12 p.m. We appreciate your time very much, Aaron, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
All right, everybody, take care. Have a good weekend.
You do the same. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be back with our final segment of this fun Friday, just like that, Jay Henley.
Yep. Yes, sir.
It's the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. Mondays at 5:20 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
That is a very high-end card and very rare.
Todd talks about coins, trading cards, collectibles, and the amazing stories behind them.
It was the first one that's ever come through my door.
Plus, we'll be taking your calls and questions at 850-215-6290. The PCB Hobby Takeover.
A platform for you to do your hobby.
Mondays at 5:20 on the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hey there, business owners. Do you feel lost in a sea of numbers, struggling to navigate your day-to-day accounting? At Lighthouse CPAs, they specialize in guiding businesses to make more money and keep more of what you make. From bookkeeping to tax planning, they've got you covered. Plus, with their user-friendly software, managing your finances has never been easier. Spend less time on paperwork and more time growing your business. Call Lighthouse CPAs 850-785-5254.
There's nothing more satisfying than helping you find the perfect vehicle. vehicle. And this month, find something you love at just 2.99% APR on our most popular models. Plus 90 days until you make your first payment. Like the 2024 Camry with stylish good looks and impressive performance. Or the 2024 Corolla, built for comfort and style with top-notch tech. Panama City Toyota. For over 30 years, where relationships are born.
Offer expires March 4th. For details, visit PanamaCityToyota.com.
Ellis Agency Insurance has been serving Panama City and Bay County for years. They offer a full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts and Deli. Call 763-1627.
Welcome to the Inside Drive, the next big thing.
It's a big, huge, giant deal.
Sports betting, huge reactions, your calls and real-time coverage of the stories you're following. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Quick Genesis Open update. Jason Day has now taken the solo lead as he has 4 under through 10 holes, making his 28-hole total as -10. Luke List -9. Patrick Cantlay still hanging out at -7 as he does not tee off for another hour or so. Cam Davis in there at -6. Got to give a shout out to our boy Jay Keith Fleming, who is off to another hot start in DraftKings Fantasy Golf, as the official lineup he gave on the show on Thursday is currently in the money with Scotty Scheffler, Justin Thomas, Jason Day, Eric Cole, Kurt Kitayama, and Tom Hoagie. I think it's Hoagie. It's either Hoge or Hoagie, but I think it's Hoagie.
Yeah.
So if you listened and you put that one in there, you're certainly potentially going to cash and win some money in that one. So hopefully your boy Tiger there, the projected cut line is now moved to even par.
Oh.
So if Tiger does not shoot 1 under, now that cut line can move all over the place depending on what people are doing, because this is a little different than your normal events because it's only how many people? We got 68. That's a tie at 66. So you got 71 people in this tournament. So the cut is the top within 10 strokes of the lead. So that'll obviously fluctuate a little bit. But right now, if the tournament ended right now, Tiger Woods would be 1 stroke outside of the cut line. He tees off at 1:54 our time, and we'll see if he makes anything happen.
Good thing he's got a couple of tournaments before Sunday Red actually drops.
There,
right.
There you go.
When he hosts the tournament, so if he misses a cut, he can just ride in a golf cart all weekend.
Around. I don't know. His back's pretty sore. He may not want to ride in a golf cart. He may want to walk.
This is true.
But Nick Dunlap, the amateur that turned pro after having that victory a couple weeks ago, he started off good yesterday. He ended up shooting a 1 under par round, but he's having a little bit of a tougher start today. He's +3 through 14 holes, so he is just outside the cut line as well. So, but cool to see him competing in a signature event already. That is for darn sure. Getting back, I had some football stuff and some mock draft stuff, but we'll push that all to next week. A couple more comments that we had on the my Facebook post that I made. Also, do want to mention tonight is the big game out there at Gavlax Stadium. Arnold Marlins trying to continue that bid as the state championship. It is game day. They'll be taking on the Inglewood Rams at 7 p.m. tonight, right there at Gavlax Stadium. It is Go Fan only, so if you want to attend that game, you need to make sure you buy those tickets right there through the Go Fan app, which is really, really easy.
It's simple. I did it.
If Jay can do it, anybody can do it.
Right.
And while you're downloading the GoFan app, you might as well download the ESPN Northwest Florida app as well. But go out and support the number 2 team in the nation. Not many opportunities you get to go watch a soccer team as good as the Arnold Marlins, and hopefully they can continue that bid and take down the Inglewood Rams again right there at Gavlax Stadium.
Yes, sir.
So I appreciate David Sharon letting us know about that one. But got one more topic we'll dive into today just a little bit, and Ed Laturco is a good friend of mine. He posted the greatest underdog stories in sports. He was a wrestler in high school, and when Rulon Gardner beat the Russian Alexander Karelin, who had never been beaten in 15 years, quite an underdog story there. App State beating Michigan in 2003. Buster Douglas beating Mike Tyson was a huge underdog update. And then, of course, what I think is the biggest upset all time in sports is when the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team took down the Russian hockey team up there in Lake Placid, New York in the Winter Olympics. I still think that's the biggest underdog victory of all time in sports. But what do you guys think? Anything that comes off the top of your mind?
Like the Braves in the 90s from worst to first.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a huge year. And they literally, they went worst to first. That was the year Sid Bream missed third base. I can't remember. Anyways.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's a great one, I feel like. What are some other ones? There's got to be some really good ones out there. Underdog.
It's happened in football a few times. Like I said, App State upsetting Michigan State. I'm drawing a huge blank. We had one this past season, and I can't remember what it was.
What's the topic of conversation?
The upsets, the underdog things, and one of the people on the post had mentioned a few of those. Rulon Gardner beating the Russian for the first time in 15 years. App State beating Michigan. There was an upset similar to App State beating Michigan this year in college football, wasn't there? I think
you had, who was it that beat Miami? That was Louisville. Last year you had...
No, somebody did beat Miami that shouldn't have beat Miami.
Middle Tennessee State.
No,
I think that was last year, man. I'm pretty sure that was last year. I'm not positive on that, but I think it was because I remember all of the jokes going along with that. I know you had App State take down Texas A&M last year as well.
That's the one I was thinking of. Yep. App State beating Texas A&M again. They
the Diamondbacks taking down the Phillies was a pretty big underdog. That whole entire run was a pretty big underdog. I mean, the Rangers winning the World Series to some extent was underdog-ish because the Rangers, Astros, which direction, So I would give them a little underdog slant there. The Boston Bruins not winning the Stanley Cup was underdog-ish.
Yeah, both the Florida Panthers and the Miami Heat, very underdog-ish there, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if anything will ever top the Miracle on Ice in 1980. That's just
we talked about that.
It was so improbable for them to beat the Russian team.
What about Michael Block?
Yeah, there you go.
That's a good win, but that's
just making the cut, the PGA Championship, and being in contention. That's certainly should be up there with one of the bigger underdog stories from this past year.
James Madison's up. Well, the thing is that one fell apart. You know what I mean? Because what was it? I think it was App State that took them down.
Yeah,
that kind of changed the direction of their season. FAU, their run last year, in March Madness. I mean, really, the whole entire Final Four last year, it was like, what we have, like 2 blue bloods and then 2 underdogs with Houston and FAU, I believe, in the Final Four.
Yeah, because you had, and Fairleigh Dickinson beat Purdue. It was at last year's tournament.
Yeah, that's why.
That's the 16 seed.
Yeah, I think Purdue's going down again to the first 2 rounds.
There you go.
Zach Edey going to fall hard.
Put it on your book.
He hit his first career 3-pointer the other day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, good to see.
What about Detroit Lions making it as far as they did this year?
I think that's fair.
100%.
Yep. Now, they've been building and but they've also been doing that for several years and just didn't come to fruition and finally doing it. What about Michigan winning the national championship? Is that...
It would be, I guess...
if they weren't there last year.
Yeah. This has been like a 3-year thing. Everyone came back for that final year. So to me, no, not really. I think the only underdog aspect to it is that they counted them, or they felt like they were counted out, and they were kind of counted out because of the schedule that it was that they played. So if I'm not going to disagree with someone if they're like, it was underdog. If you feel like that, if you feel like you being the number 1 seed going into the college football playoff, you were an underdog, like, okay, whatever. you know?
How about your boy Brock Purdy? Is he an underdog?
Oh, without a doubt. Mr. Irrelevant?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a good one.
And, you know, I was thinking about this earlier when I was talking to the lady at the eye doctor this morning. And, you know, he tore his UCL last year.
Mm-hmm.
And he came back from that and led his team to the Super Bowl. Shouldn't he have been in the Comeback Player of the Year award conversation?
Ooh. No, because in my opinion, like that's coming back from an injury, but you that happened in the postseason. I'm fine with it. You want to put him in the conversation.
Yeah, but if it would have happened and he was established, like, if it would have happened in week like 3 or 4,
or even week 8 or something, halfway through the season, like that's why I could throw Tua in there with the conversation. But yeah, and again, if he were to be thrown in, I would be like, all right, well, it makes sense. I guess you can make it make sense that he is coming back from something that was pretty pivotal.
Yeah, for sure. I think some of the bigger upsets in sports, just to stay on the topic, definitely revolve around that the NCAA basketball tournament for sure. There's a good list here. Back in 2016, in the first round, Middle Tennessee State beat Michigan State 90-81. That was certainly a big upset, that's for sure. Back in the 1999, Gonzaga, who was the number 10 seed, beat Stanford 82-74, and that was really before Gonzaga came on the scene as one of the perennial powers in college basketball. Back in 2022, just 2 years ago, St. Peter's, I know you guys probably remember that one, beat Kentucky in overtime. They were the 15 seed and shocked the then number 2 seed Kentucky, beating them in overtime by 6 points. And Florida Gulf Coast, you know, back in 2013, they beat Georgetown 78-68. This is the highest of all the 15 versus 2 upsets because it was the largest margin of victory by 10 points in that one. And, exciting stuff there. Duke beating UNLV in the 1991 Final Four. It's very rare that a number 2 seed beats a number 1 seed. It's considered a major upset, but UNLV was 34-0 and had not lost a game since February of 1990 at that point, and ended up losing to Duke in that 1991 Final Four. I'll go to the number 1 here real quick because I know we're just about out of time. University of Maryland Baltimore College back in 2018 beat Virginia. That was the number 16 seed. At that time, the number 16 seed had never beaten a number 1 seed in 135 tries. Obviously, it has since happened again last year, but that was the breaking of the ice in a 16 seed taking down the number 1 seed. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us today here on the Inside Drive. We'll be back on Monday. You've got the afternoon underdogs coming up at 4 p.m. this afternoon. Hope y'all have a great weekend. Watch some of that golf. Watch that big old Daytona 500 coming up on Sunday afternoon. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll see y'all next week.
Suffer from political talk radio fatigue?
We know that under the 99% rate, the U.S. economy is holding.
Tune into